Hi, this is my track, which is an experiment in distortion, as you can probably hear. And what I'm just going to do is very quickly just kind of run through it. I will tell you this right now. Track number 9 is basically just the audio that's being recorded in terms of the music, so I'm going to ignore that one. Also have this Reese bass, which is, you know, to be played with. So this was something I was going to play along in real time, and I wasn't really quite sure what the bass line should be, so I've kind of left it in a slightly abstract, ambiguous sort of relationship with the track. It will be along those lines. Anyway, so that's the Reese bass that's there first of all. This one is to do with the kick pulse. Now the interesting thing about this one is really using the Max for Live step sequencer, not using any pitches, trying to vary the velocity so that the velocity that's set up within the sampler is just going to sort of affect a little bit here. So there you can see, unless it's the highest velocities, very little else actually gets through. And all the way down to 0, the velocities are flat. So somewhere like 35% gives us a little bit of variation that we can use. It's kind of an interesting sort of tip. I've got an octave at the end there. So basically treating this kind of kick drum type sort of pulse as well as a rhythmic element, kind of a pitched element. And the octave is one of those really easy ones to do because it doesn't really bring any more tonalities, like it's not a minor third or a fifth or a flattened seventh or anything else like that. I did an experiment with the durations. So if you have it for too long, this is what it's going to sound like, which is an interesting sound in itself. That felt a bit too tight. So somewhere around there seemed to be about right. I'm not using the repeats, but again, if I was using the repeats, it would sound like that, which is not a bad sound, right? One of the things I like when I use the repeats that's interesting is being able to sort of generate new pitches that come off the back of that, right? So you can take each of the pitches that you want, sample them individually. It's a bit of a labor of love. So there's the octave, the root. So that will be the 5th. It's kind of stuck in the middle there, isn't it? So you find the kind of the optimal place where it feels right. So that's the 5th. That feels like the 6th. Feels like the flattened 7th. Maybe the leading tone, the major 7th. And then up, right? And then all the way down here, it's almost Iron Maiden-like. It's great, right? It's kind of worth exploring. So in addition to that, I've also got the filtering. So you can hear the filtering's doing a lot because it's adding in this MS2, which is the Korg MS20 distortion drive, which is here. So you can take a quite polite sound and turn it into something quite aggressive. Not doing much, I mean the release is quite high here. Again, it's a bit in combination with the durations here. You know, everything that we hear is not really just coming off the sequencer here in terms of the overall effect. So it really is a question of trying to work out where is the sweet spot that you're looking for. And then finally, one of my favorite saturators, the Decapitator. It's on the EMI console model. So it's a little bit too much, as you can tell when you go that far. That seems to be okay there. And I've sort of moved the tone slightly darker, brighter, darker. That seems to be kind of enough. Okay, moving on to the next one. An audio file of some snare drums, if I remember, a kind of a crunchy riff. I've not really done much to this one. I mean, I did some minor edits into it. Quite a lot of what you're hearing is actually coming from the echoboy, if I take it out. And again, we've got the Decapitator. It's kind of really nice where you have these managed repeats and tails. A little bit more saturation over here. Not too much. Again, you can control the amount of feedback if you don't want so much of it. Obviously, I've got... And then, of course, we've got the Decapitator to bring everything up. Okay, next one's the electronic drums. So we've got quite a bit of processing. We've got reverbs and 2 sets of delays. So the reverb is on A and 2 sets of delays are on B and C. So I'll just disable all of those. So I also have some automation on this part here, which includes the way it cuts off here. So we're not listening to the whole of the file. So it's quite nice with the crunchy bit at the end, right? So we have that. And what I've also done is to lower down the transient response. So let's take the transient response as well. Right? So I do like the transient response shaping. So you can make it quite tight if you wanted to. Make it sort of quite big. And then I also have the automation, as I said, on the volume, and you can see this going up. So what else do we have? CamelPhat 3, which I still love. It can be used to destroy almost anything, really. And again, I did quite a lot with the filtering. Sort of left it there. Maybe take a little bit of the low end off. And then, because this is an experiment in saturation, more saturation from Decapitator. Let me just put the effects back in. So next one, we have another electronic drum type sample. Again, note the transient shaping that's taking place there. And again, just essentially identifying a little slice of the audio and then automate that under clip-based automation. We change this to an eighth, a quarter note instead of a 16th. Let's have a listen. So you can do some modifications to an audio file, right? Let's do a 30-second note. Let's have a listen to it in the context of the track, shall we? I think we'll leave that one as it is. And again, another electronic drum one. Actually, we didn't look at the, yeah, no distortion on that one at all. I wonder why I didn't put any on there, but there we go. So this is really much more in keeping with that snare. Let's have a listen. So I didn't do any transient shaping on this one. Yeah, I think I might not have done it because of the echo. The processing, Decapitator, quite extreme, but this time it's on the A model. And then the next one we have here is we have the Arvox. An Arvox, very simple to set and works really well. Something I used to use a long time ago, a lot, which is, I suppose, when I was on Cubase back in the early 2000s, but anyway, T-Rex. The clipper on this one is actually, the clipper is actually really good. And you can shape it, as we know. Okay. And then a bit of EQ, just to take a little bit of that lower end off. Listen to it. With that track, it feels like there could be a little bit more processing to be done. And now we come back to another electronic drum one. This one you can see just has a particular kind of EQ curve set for it. We've got the transient shaping, so let's take it all the way back up to 100. So you can hear it's got this kind of undulating pitch to it. We've got there. And then the last of the electronic drums. This one's got a bit of a tabla sort of feel to it. Again, transient shaping. So we can see. And then the effects, OTT. I know some people are not into using OTT. It has its moments and has its applications. So I wouldn't rule anything out. The Maserati drums. Let me turn that off. So it's quite distorted. So when the Maserati kicks in, it sort of cleans it up ever so slightly because of EQing through the different registers. Decapitator. Back on the EMI model. And finally, I'm using this sort of pitch plugging that sort of widens out the stereo image. That's kind of it. I hope you've enjoyed that walkthrough. See you next time. Bye for now.